the director of the Medical Society, Karen Thompson here. She gets an applaud. You like that?
I like your shirt.
Don't you love it?
I love it. We had that made just in case anybody's wondering. I said we had that made just for Karen. I don't know that they're for sale. I think that they were just made for select female members of our team. I'm not sure.
Exclusive. Yeah, this lady might have had something to do with it here.
Oh, nice. Thank you, Jess.
Nice tank. So let's go ahead and get into it a little bit. There's a lot of stuff going on with the CrossFit Medical Society, and you guys are continuing the Evolution of the Revolution tour. We've already gone down to a couple of different places all over, and we got one coming up as well in February down in LA. But let's go ahead and start digging into some of that stuff, Karen. How is everything going with the Medical Society?
I'm honestly blown away. We have created this community of super passionate individuals, not just physicians and healthcare providers, but patients as well. And the way that they're showing up, the questions that they're asking, the engagement is like second to none. I've never experienced this amount of passion. And honestly, like it just makes my work and everything that we're doing so meaningful. And not just like the members, but the experts that we're bringing in as well, like Seafried and Taubes and Zoe Harcombe. And then we had the member showcase with Stephen Luther and his incredible team. And every time we do something, I'm just blown away by the work that our community is doing. Like it's incredible.
Yeah. And it's something about like when you have people that are just really passionate and like care about the work that you do, and you give them into the same, like everybody into the same room, the energy, the conversations. And for me, like, even though I'm low guy on the totem pole in terms of the intellectual conversations that are happening there, I still come away with a ton of energy and like excitement to like share everything that was going on. And it just fires me back up to go back and do the work. And like, for me, even though this may seem small, the collective total of everything that we're doing with Broken Science and MetFix and the Medical Society shows that the work that I do matters. And when I show up at my gym at 5:15 in the morning, it's cold as shit, and I'm rolling up that bay door, I know that all the work that's being done by this awesome freaking team here is continuing to drive the mission. And for me, that's huge, because you know that someone's got your back and we're continuing to work at really high levels while you're continuing to do the day-to-day stuff inside the gym, which is also very important work.
Well, I think what really stood out for me with this group, oh, sorry, Em.
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
I think what really stood out for me with this group versus what we were previously doing is like this group is highly engaged and they are implementing all the principles, everything that we've spoken about, like everything that we are giving them access to. They're the ones implementing the work. Like we're providing the education and the information, but they're actually actioning this. And I think like Em will agree with me. We've had a conversation many times. When we went to Hilton Head and saw what Dr. Stephen Luther and his team was doing, like it blew our minds. Like we literally had to like take a step back and be like, who knew this was possible? Like this is the dream and the ultimate, and they're actually doing it with this massive patient population. It was so beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, I would just like Stephen Luther. Karen and I were joking. I was like, I want a shirt that says like, what would Stephen Luther do? Because like, literally I think he's like memorized everything Greg's ever written. Like his primary care doctor who's built this gorgeous facility. He hosted us with people who had the best questions. I mean, the whole event like just blew our minds. But I said to him and Karen, I was like, you know what's really cool about this is that like I think, Greg and then Greg and Karen and now me and Greg and Karen like have had this vision for like how could healthcare be, right? How can doctors actually do what they went to medical school to do, the art and science of medicine, right? Like not spending 12 minutes a year with your patient and just matching prescriptions to symptoms. And it's like when you tell a kid, like, you can do anything, Johnny. And then the kid goes and does this thing. And you're like, holy moly, you actually did it. Like, and not that we didn't believe it was possible, like nothing cynical, but like he has literally since Greg sold CrossFit, he has implemented all of those ideas, built an incredible community of really smart, interesting people that combine other healthcare workers, registered dietitians, and patients. And they have this, I mean, like if it were, I would hang out there all the time, which is sort of his goal, right? Like I get to see my patients when they're working out. I get to see my patients when they come in he has the whole like aesthetic business. And his whole thing is that you want to live a long life where you're healthy and beautiful. And I mean, like Karin and I are both like, sign me up. Like, we're going to go back.
I want to move there. And also,
every tree offers. But like, I think the other thing I just wanted to mention when you were talking about, like, Karin has done such a phenomenal job with very little direction on planning webinars, hosting events, bringing in phenomenal speakers and educators. But one of the things that I'm always taken aback by, which I think is really important to emphasize, because having been involved in like lots of different little communities, right? Or seeing, you know, whether it's like you're talking about finance with finance people, or you're talking about politics with politicians, people aren't necessarily generous with their knowledge. There oftentimes is this feeling of like, you come to the conversation, you kind of want to know what somebody else knows so that you can make sure that you're presenting yourself as the best, right? Or that you're coming at something looking for a competitive advantage. I've seen zero of that. People are so generous with what they know, with what they're struggling with areas they want to learn more. And I don't know exactly how we have fostered that kind of a community, but it's a supportive group. And I think, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's about like 50% patients, 50% healthcare workers.
Yeah.
So it's not just people who are like in the trenches doing the job. It's people who are in the trenches caring for an elderly patient, or caring for themselves or their spouse or their kids, looking for good research and a good community. And we have people who are saying like, I'm really trying to create this perfect community. I'm not quite there yet, but I'm learning more, and I'm here for you. And I do telemedicine. I mean, like some of those connections, like we could never have planned for, right? And it would have been superficial had we, but it has become this sort of like magical incubator that I feel so protective of and so grateful for. And I think a lot of that is under your leadership, that people have really come to this with an open mind and the ability to want to learn and frankly want to contribute, which is what I really hope MetFix carries on with, that same sort of openness to how do we support each other, right? Like we're all trying to save lives and we're all coming at it from different lenses, but how do we as a community collectively, you know, sort of accomplish these goals? And the medical society is like, I mean, Karin and I get emails every time somebody signs up for the medical society. And there's some nights where I'm like, damn, like, what did we post? What did we do? Right? Like we've got like 20 new people signed up, and it's like really invigorating. And I think, you know, sort of talking about how hard we've all been working, it's like, that's what keeps me going. That's what makes me be like, I don't mind working on a Saturday, because like, look at all these people who are dying for what we're providing and are using it. They're not just signing up and then being passive. They're really using it. And so, I mean, I can't thank you enough for all that hard work too, because I think it's really a testament to your leadership and your ability to create these communities and find the right people to educate everybody.
Totally. And no, and honestly, like the people that are coming into the medical society are very self-driven. I think that's what sets them apart from previous communities that we have started, not with Broken Society or MetFix, obviously. But these are people who are willing to go out, give it a try, make mistakes, ask for help, want to collaborate, are constantly wanting to learn and grow. It reminds me so much of that Apple clip where they talk about the misfits and like, these are the people that change the world. Like, these are the people that change the world. And one of the biggest comments that I've got, Em, is like this, what we're providing in education is this ability to learn how to think critically.
Yeah.
We get so many comments on Emily Unleashed, like such positive comments on like, they're like, well, we didn't really understand what this meant or why it was even included. And then we listened. And we suddenly have this ability and this understanding to look at situations from a different perspective. And so, you know, huge kudos to you. And then just like, when I see what the members are doing, it's incredible. Luke Palmisano, emergency room physician in Los Angeles. We're hosting the event. He's hosting our event in February. I mean, he posts something the other day. He's an ER doctor. You've been to the ERs in the United States. It's chaos. They don't have more than 2 minutes to spend with you. Here, this man is writing a prescription for exercise and nutrition, drawing a plate of what these people should be eating. And I'm like, this man cares.
Yeah.
And those are the types of people that we are having in the medical society and as part of MetFix. They are part of the solution and they're willing to put in the work. They don't have to be like, you have to do A, B, C. They're taking it. They're modifying it to what works for them in their communities. And they're actually doing it. I mean, what a privilege for us to witness this and be a part of.
Totally. And that's why I think, again, it goes back to this idea of like, how can we best educate and support the efforts of the people who are actually like the soldiers in the trenches doing the work, right?
Yeah.
And then two things, just to echo those words, like the generosity in terms of like them giving time to either educate on what they talked about further, draw more clarity, or help you make the connection from the talk to the people that are in front of you that you're training. It cannot be a more generous group. Like I was kind of like intimidated, like, oh, these guys, how do you get in and have these conversations? And they are so willing just to, if you just walk up to them during the tacos and like the hangout afterwards, and you're like, so can we get clarity on this or that or anything? And everybody is super generous. So I would really encourage you, if you have not, go to the Broken Science, go to the medical society portion of it, fill out the application. Like we have Lori here, got to hang out with her a little bit yesterday. It was great doing that. But
I love her.
Yeah, so she was really excited, affiliate owner for a long time over here local, just about 15-20 minutes up the road from me. And was like, how do I get involved? I'm like, just go there, sign up the stuff, talk to Karin, like put it in there. Like they'll help you through with the applications to get yourself involved. And when we talk about a ton of stuff like coming up here, let me just share this real quick. This is just a couple of things highlighted that are coming up in just the near future, not to mention there's lots of other like journal club stuff and other things going on. So you want to be involved. If you guys go to brokenscience.org and you sign up there, it'll get you the information necessary. You could become a part of the medical society and get yourself involved here.
And I would just add one thing to that, because I think it's really important for people who feel intimidated to realize that none of us who have arrived at this place were taught this in any traditional sense, right? So like I've gone to the best schools in the country. I didn't learn any of this in any of those places. I learned it from other people, and I learned it by me doing a lot of digging on my own. So like I think that's part of the reason that people are so generous in terms of wanting to help and wanting to teach other people, is because that's how we all learned. It's not like you go to get a formal education and then you can come and have a conversation. Nobody, literally none of our experts, like plenty of them went to great schools, have had great careers, but they didn't learn what they're teaching here through those traditional channels. And so I think it's almost like, you're paying it forward because somebody did it for you. Somebody mentored you, somebody helped you, somebody carried you through and taught you how statistics are manipulated, or how to do real research, or how to look at a disease properly, or how to talk to a doctor properly. None of that stuff is formally taught except with us. I mean, I think we are starting to formalize some of that education for the very first time ever anywhere. And so I think, for somebody who feels like, oh, I don't know, I can't hang out with Seafried or whatever. Even at the event in Boston, like my daughter, who's 11, was like Seafried's sidekick all night because she had a lot of questions for him and he was really happy to educate her. And she's 11, right? So like no one should feel intimidated. The information is intimidating in part because it's been made to be overly complex so that it's kept with this sort of like expert set. We want this to be populace based. We want anybody to be able to go to the doctor and ask good questions, or get diagnosed with something, or have a parent that you're helping care for and be able to chart that course for them. That's your right as an individual to be able to do that. And I think that we're demystifying this in part because we've all had it demystified for us, and it's accessible. You can learn this stuff. It's not overly complicated. And also, I think like the virtual happy hours and stuff like that, like people talk about research, but also sometimes the tequila flows. Like it's fun. And it's like a way of meeting other people who are just curious about this stuff. It doesn't have to all be so intellectual, I think.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We're also starting the book club, which I didn't put on because we're still trying to pin a date down.
Greg wanted to do January and David Stove. So we'll get a date for January for that. I'm not sure if it'll be before or after his event, but
which is a good thing to sign up for book club with Greg in January. I mean, and Craig Wood has been so passionate. I know he's watching about like getting his book club out. He has the best ideas. He's just so passionate as well. So thank you, Craig, for your participation and everything that you give and bring to us.
He's got the book club for the win there. Yeah. And Ernie Garza throws his hat in the ring here, saying he's going to be in the States by February if you need an extra pair of hands for setups, breakdown. And Karin, you remember Ernie.
I love Ernie. Ernie would be my number one employee, sidekick. Like, I would pay money just to have Ernie near me.
He's definitely a valuable team member. That's for dang sure.
Yeah.
Josh, what's up, man? Good to see you. Because real knows real, energy attracts energy. This is going back to kind of the cohort of people that Karin's been able to assemble, but not only the cohort of people, but the energy in the room. Like, this is something that I think is very unique to this team, and is kind of an intangible. You have to have somebody that has the ability to bring the energy in the room, to lighten the mood to everybody, to remind everybody, like, why are you there? This is exciting, the importance of it, and be able to do that with carrying the stress of putting on a live event without ever letting it leak through to the audience that's there. And that is 100% Karin. And so it takes an individual like that to actually make this work. And that's kind of the intangible, where you could have all the pieces of the recipe, but if you don't have somebody with her and her energy and her mindset, it just doesn't work. It doesn't come off the same.
You know, and I just want to quickly build on that, not about me, but what has stood out for me so much is I don't have an extended family in the United States. This is my extended family. I deeply love and respect the colleagues that I have. Very different to my previous work experience. This ethos, this culture, this thing that Em is like building and spearheading and like empowering us to take forward is so different. Yes, the methodology is the same, that all the important parts are there. The foundations are there. The energy, the way we're doing it, so different. And it's literally the greatest privilege to be a part of this for me.
Yeah, it's been awesome. So there's some of the upcoming stuff that you guys could see there on the screen. And then anything else, Karin, that we want to mention? I think Craig just had one question here, so we'll go to this, and then we'll be talking about affiliates next year. But we got Craig. Is there a directory of who's in the medical society?
Yes, there is, and the profiles are there, and we've asked people to upload videos. Craig, I will resend you your email and with the information, so we can definitely chat about that. But yes, there are full profiles. You'll see exactly who's doing what, where they are, a ton of information, and we'll definitely be pushing that a lot harder in the new year.
Yes, and Bree Steller's here. Craig, adding it to the cart now. This was referring to the stove book. So yeah, you guys get that at Amazon.com. It's published by Broken Science now, so you could grab that and jump in, because you want to be ready in January whenever they kind of release the date for that. Look, where can you find the directory? This is Mr. Birchfield here, Jeffrey Birchfield. It's also a professor as well. Know him.
When you log into your Broken Science account, if you are a member of the medical society, you should be able to see your page as like a member directory. And it's up to you to go and update with, like, you know, if you're a doctor, what your specialty is, where you work. And that is something you can make forward facing, which will help your SEO as a practice. Or it's also a way of sort of like networking on our forums behind the scenes. So like if you're a patient and you're looking for a certain kind of doctor, you can search that way. And if you're a patient, you can list the interests that you have, things that you're doing. Do we have it connected where it shows every event you've been to? Or is that coming? I don't know.
I think that's coming. No, it may already be up. Sorry, I closed all my tabs so that we could get on here. But yes, it is an option for sure. I can see exactly which events I've been to, which is all of them.
I think we should put some videos on that so that people know how to navigate. There's a lot of technological capability that people aren't really utilizing yet. And I think it's probably because we haven't explained it's there, and it's like, this is how you use it. But the forums are really designed to be like a social media site. So as we grow, you can follow certain people. You can list articles you're reading or things you're interested in and share them with specific people. You can form your own cohorts of groups. So like theoretically, if you're a cancer patient, you could form a group with Seafried, and then you could invite other cancer patients to be part of that forum so that you guys are sharing information or experiences or whatever, and it's not available to everybody to see. So I think in 2025, this is, you know, to be honest, like we have built so many things and we haven't done enough work to showcase what we've built and how to use it. And that's really, for me, what 2025 is going to look like, is going back to the things we built and promoting them within our own community and the larger community, so that people realize there are all these tools and like they're all here. We've built them all, but you have to know how to use them, and you have to know that they're there in order to use them. So I think like a lot of that is probably still coming. I haven't actually checked in on like where the medical society dashboards are, but I know that the capability is built in there. So I think that's something we can definitely do a better job of. And like what it is literally, I mean, the team knows this. This is like what 2025 is going to be. It's like we've built all this stuff. Let's make sure people are using it, enjoying it, and like we can keep improving on it.
And we honestly have the best tech team in the universe. I am madly in love with them, not in a bad way, like in a like they just have the most generous hearts. They are so passionate, which is a common thread throughout everyone that works at BSI. So everything is probably there, and I just haven't explained it properly. So I'll take full responsibility for that and just rolling it out properly in the new year.
Well, I think step one is building it, us testing it. Don't be too hard on yourself. Like we're getting there. We've done it all so fast. So I think it's exciting. You know, it's just to let people know there's a lot there that you don't even know about yet. Right.
Yeah. Awesome.
And Brie here is currently reading Karen's book, Sugar Free. So go out and get that as well. Okay, awesome. Karen, thank you very much for the updates there. You guys go over to the brokenscience.org site, sign up for the Medical Society, get all the stuff, get involved because you guys aren't going to want to miss any of this. Ms. Karen Thompson, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. I really love you guys.
Awesome. Adios. She gets applause on the way out as well there.